Well, right now we have two wonderful Kangen success stories here. We have Bob and Brooke, and we're actually standing in their Garden of Paradise in South Florida. So welcome to our Kangen success stories here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Reverend Charlotte.
Oh, well, thank you for joining us. And I know that each of you all, you've had, hundreds of miracles, but I'd like to just hear your personal stories. And Bob, I know you have quite a story. Give us the abbreviated version, but tell us enough details so everyone knows really the miracle that you are.
Well, the abbreviated one is 3 years ago, I ended up in a place I hadn't been in since 1939. That was a hospital. And they diagnosed me with renal cell carcinoma, cancer of the left kidney. And they wanted to remove it the following weekend. And my prognosis after that was to be on dialysis the rest of my life. I chose to leave the hospital without letting them touch me and went home and proceeded to lose about 30 pounds. You know, the cancer just eats away at you. And then my wife came up with the Kangen machine, started drinking the water, and within 4 months my weight started coming back. And here I am 3 years later with my kidney and not on dialysis.
Well, that is a heck of a good story, and we're grateful that you're here. You've been a blessing to all of us. And Brooke, you are our mentor, and you're the best. And you've had miracle after miracle, but what would you like to share with us?
Well, Charlotte, one of the most important things to understand, as you can tell, we're senior citizens. Bob just turned 77, well, I mean in August, when I was expecting that I would be a widow, but not only a widow, but a widow without any money because we were bankrupt. And so, you know, we were in pretty bad straits. We had to borrow money from our kids for groceries. It was really very a sad place. We had homesteaded this, so we didn't lose the house, but you know, how could we keep the mortgage and keep going with the whole thing? Well, when I found the water, which was actually 3 months after his diagnosis, I was on my knees and I said, my God, what do you want me to do? Picture flashed in my mind of Dr. Imadi from Atlanta. The phone rang. I hadn't talked to her for 4 years. She told me about the water. Well, Charlotte, within 36 hours of me drinking the water, I had to drive all the way to Charlotte, North Carolina. And 36 hours later, I had pain in my neck gone from arthritis. I had cancers fall off my body. And then I got into this yelling match with God because there was no way we could purchase this. We were bankrupt. And I said, how are we going to do this, God? Well, then, Bob, what happened?
Well, we got a call from a loan shark in New York. I call him Guido. Anyway, we were able to refinance the house, you know, at pretty outrageous terms, but we were able to come up with the money for the machine.
And after that, after the 4 months when his cancer came back, the test came back with no cancer and he was flying high, I started sharing with people. And we have now created bounty out of that bankruptcy. Just not even 3 years now, we've actually created over $500,000 in income, personal income. And we've saved so many lives. And I want to introduce you now to Michael Paul because he was one of our first ones that we were able to save. And I'm so excited.
Well,
we have
good.
over 1,000 people now.
So, Michael, if you would come over here and stand next to Brooke here, because we want to hear your story.
Mr. Mikey, hurry up, we're on camera.
Yes, you are.
Hey.
I know your story, but I know the people watching this don't know it yet. So, Michael, thank you for sharing with us. So, tell us an abbreviated version of your miracle here.
Basically, when I had diabetes for about 15 years.
And type 1 or 2?
Type 2.
Okay.
And so I was on 2,500 milligrams of glucovance a day and getting progressively worse. And then Brooke introduced me to the water and I started drinking it for a week or two, but I had a problem with my foot and developed an osteomyelitis, and then my whole foot turned purple and black, so they took me to the hospital, and at that point they said they were going to cut off my foot. And I said, I don't think so, but they basically said that's the only choice you have. Well, we went through the whole process. In the meantime, Brooke and my wife were bringing me the Kangen water, and at that point we did amputate the toe because the bone was gone, but saved the foot. My foot turned back to normal color.
Wow.
And I was able to start, you know, the stitches probably 3 days later they said could come out. That's how quickly I healed. and that was just drinking the water. And then after that, basically, you know, I weaned myself off the medication, which was great because after about 4 or 5 months, I lost over 70 pounds, and been Kangen water in my blood since. We just took my live blood analysis, and he said my blood is close to perfect.
Well, congratulations, and that
No
is
more
such a great
diabetes.
story.
Oh yes, I stopped doing that like a couple years ago.
Yeah, well, I know a lot of diabetics have asked me about the water, and this is a great testimony for them to tune into, so thank you. And Brooke, I'm sure it makes you feel like $1 million to have story after story after story like this.
Well, I have to tell you, Charlotte, not only these kinds of stories, but stories about you guys coming into my life and having these incredible friends that all we get to do is talk about how many lives we have filled up and changed. And this is such a blessing. Thank you so much for sharing this with the world.
Well, thank you for sharing you with the world. Namaste.
Namaste.